So we're starting back. We're installing Windows 11 now for the first time. So if you popped your CD in, you should have saw the screen like I had where you can boot from CD. Okay, so we're booting up from the CD or the ISO image that you have for the first time. Now this is the installation of Windows 11. Not much to it. We're going to install Pro today, so we're going to click Next. Next here. Agree to everything. You click Next. Don't have a product key. We're testing this out, which is fine. We're just using this for our lab environment, so we should be okay. Now it's going to say getting ready, checking out to see if your system is compatible, and then we'll select Windows 11. There are all different languages here. Well, not languages, just different versions that you can. So if you want to look these up, we can talk about them later, but not really for this class. So we're just going to select Windows 11 Pro and then click Next. It's going to go ahead and check a few things to see if the system is compatible. Then you just accept the license agreement. From here, we'll search again and then find your disk that we selected. If you selected it, whatever you created, your VHD when you did your VM or your HDD for your physical PC. From here, always I go ahead and I do a create partition, and I like to create a partition on whatever is there because Windows will create multiple partitions for recovery. Some folks can skip this step and just click next or do a direct install, which is fine. It's another way of doing it. Sometimes when you do that, you miss the opportunity to have these 3 partitions created. So all is well. We're just going to go ahead now and click next. You can also format this partition if you choose to, but since this is a virtual disk, there's nothing on there to format. So just go ahead and click next. From here, everything looks good. We're just going to go ahead and click install. And then now Windows 11 is going to run through and it's going to install. This installation normally takes just a few minutes, but it all depends on the speed of your computer and your processing speed and how fast it goes. So we'll pause here until we get to the login screen. So once the initial phase has been completed, now your system will start to show as such, just installing Windows. So it'll restart a few times until you get to the main screen where we need to log in. Now normally your screen will show up like this, so you want to click yes here to accept. And then you're going to get hit with this keyboard layout. And there's a magic trick that we got to do here, ladies and gentlemen, shortly. So we're going to skip this and you'll see what I'm talking about. First, going to ask you to, you're going to need an account to log in. And we're going to have to do some bypassing to get through it. Which is fine because this is a good learning experience for most of the folks that haven't seen it before. This is something that happens with Windows 11. So right here, you can name your device. So for example, we're just going to call this MG, so management PC01. That's what we're going to name it. And we're going to click next. So on this is the screen I'm talking about. It wants you to either select for personal or work. You could select for this one right here. And once we get to the next screen, it prompts you to do the login with Microsoft account. Now this is where it comes in play where we need to do a few things to get it. So the first thing we need to do, we're going to hold on the keyboard. We're going to do Shift and hit F10. And you need to bring this up. Now there's 2 methods for this depending on the version of Windows that you're installing. So this is the older version of how to bypass this right here. So you'll type in oobe and then slash and then it's bypass nro. So like I said, this is the older version. Not sure which one will work today, so we're just going to look at it because this is version 10.0. Depending on the newest version that's out there, we need to see. But this looks like an older version of Windows, so it might work. So let's see. So we're going to hit enter in here. It's going to go ahead and restart the system. Operation completed successfully, and then we'll be right back. So once it restarts, it should take you back to the regional settings. We're just going to click yes here, and then we're just going to wait for it to go through to the next steps. Keyboard layout, we'll click yes, and then we'll skip. Don't need a secondary. Like I said, each version of Windows for this might be different. So after it's finished doing the updates now, remember earlier I did name this device, but this time I don't want to do that because it's going to restart it, and I need to make sure the license stuff is working. So I'm just going to skip this for now and see if it'll take me to the screen where I don't have to log in, because then I should get a new option to bypass it. So it still brought me back to this screen where I can't bypass it. Now, what I did notice earlier is that this computer was also connecting to the internet, and it was looking for updates, and that's something that we need to fix in order for this to work. So I'm going to go ahead and do Shift F10 again. So Shift F10, I should have did this in the first part, and we need to disable the network settings. So ncpa.cpl is a command that you'll want to use. It's going to bring up your network settings inside of here. And then we need to go ahead and disable this because this is allowing it to talk to the network, and hence giving us the issue where it probably won't bypass because it's checking that it has internet connection. So once that is done, now we're going to go back to oobe/bypassnro, and then from here is where we'll go ahead and hit enter again. Oops, did it like not like. So it should be a bypass. There you go. And then we're going to restart again. Okay, so we'll go ahead and try the regional settings again as before. And now we should be, if the command worked before because it was checking for internet, we should get where we were looking for to be able to skip the whole process because now it can't find internet. So this is different, as you can see. This is what we're looking for. Now we can say I don't have internet. And then now we can put a name in, right? We could, so let's do so we'll just do for short local admin, and then we'll just click don't need a password because we're going to have this on the domain. So then this should run through, and then Windows will go ahead and start it up. And then you notice from here the process takes a little longer, so we could turn all of this off. Don't need none of this. Click accept. And then yep, this is a process where it takes a little while to go through. When you see high, that means it's going to take a little bit. So we'll pause here and then we'll be right back. Okay, so Windows is officially installed now, so we can start with our configuration steps for this lab. So the first thing we're going to do just a few client domain and network fundamentals. So what does that mean? Well, we're going to just change a few things to make sure we're good to go for the domain. So let's rename this computer to the proper. This is going to be our management computer that we're using. So as the regular user, if you're working on the help desk now, this is going to be your help desk computer that we'll use going forward. So let's go ahead and right click on your start button, and looking at your start button, you will see a whole bunch of stuff that's here. So I want to go to terminal admin first, and let's just check to see who we are. I always like to see who we're logged in as and who we're working with. So the first command is going to be who am I. This will show you that this is the PC name. So the mgmt-pc01, that is fine. So the PC, it does have a name because we did this during the installation, and then LA admin is an admin that we created. So we need to actually verify though that these are correct. So let's go ahead and we are going to go to computer management real quick. And what we're going to do, we're just going to verify that the administrator does have admin rights, and that the users here are good to go. So computer management should go here. We'll see all the local users. So LA.admin, as you can see, all the other administrators are shut down, and LA admin is the administrator that we're using here. So we could go to properties and see, is he a member of administrators? Yes. Okay. And this is a good best practice because everyone knows the default login for your basic login systems. So if you disable your defaults, right, and then create a new administrator, that is a great best practice to have. And then make sure that they're part of the administrators, then you should be good to go. So this would be your local admin account that we're going to use for backup access. So we'll keep this the way it is. Okay. And now we can just double check our disk management, see if everything is good to go as far as space wise. Okay. We do have enough space that's left over on here. Okay, that is fine. Alright, so next thing we need to go is network and internet settings, and let's look at our IP address. And we want to see how we're connected. Okay, so we'll click on advanced, and Ethernet is here. So if you remember in the beginning, we had to disable it to bypass the login information. So now we need to go back in and set this up to make sure it's working. So we'll go to TCP/IP here, and we don't have an IP address yet, which is fine. So what we do, we enable this, and it's going to pick up an IP. So we let it work itself. Now you can see the state is enabled. It's starting to send and receive. That means it's good to go. Alright, so once this is enabled and it's good to go, let's jump back on here and let's do an IP config. And let's see what's the IP address that we were given. So we were given a 168 by DHCP server. So let's take it. Like I said, whatever DHCP gives to us, we're going to use that for our lab purposes. So since we got a 168, we're going to make this 168 a hard address. Okay. So let's go back to here. And now let's go back to more adapter and then click edit. And then this is where we're going to go ahead and put that hard address in. So we're just going to go here, go 192.168. 168, and then 192.168.1.254. And then now if you know our DNS server is actually the DC that we created in the beginning. So we need to make sure that the DC IP address is what goes in here. So this was 192.168.1, and then whatever the that DC was. So let's go back and check real quick. So if you forgot, like myself, since we were labbing, I need to log back into the domain controller. So we're just going to log in here, and we're going to just double check to see what the IP address of this box is. And then this is why it's so important to make your naming convention and your IP scheme. You need to do these because then once you're building on the network, you can start seeing how everything is adding up. And we're going to cover that as well shortly, so we can start putting IP addresses in on the network. Okay, so this is our DC. It's connected. We can go here and look at it. We can see our IP address from here, so it's a 172. So we'll know from here on out that .172 is our domain controller for DC01, and then .168 is going to be our management PC. Okay, so we'll switch back over to our management PC. So now we're back over, so we'll put a 172 here, so 172. And really, that's really all you need. We don't need a secondary right now because we don't have our second DC on, but later on we can push this out as well. So right now we're just going to go ahead and click OK and click close here. And then now we're going to go ahead and try to ping our DC. So it needs to see if we can talk to our domain controller. This is very important because if you can't talk to your domain controller, then this PC won't be able to join the domain. So our checklist is good to go. We renamed the computers are already good to go from the name, and we just changed the IP address. So we have a local admin for backup access. Now we need to turn on what's called remote desktop. So if we need to remote into here, let's change our remote desktop settings real quick, and we're going to turn that on so that we can remote into this machine right there. Confirm. Right. Confirm. So this is our PC, MGMT PC01, and we have most of the stuff turned on. Static IP, we can ping, we can talk to it. Computer is name, we got a local domain set. So let's go ahead and update our chart real quick. So now this is our diagram that we've been working on in the back end, just to simulate how we're going to be building out our structure. So as you can see, we have our DC01 that's going to come into play. We installed Active Directory, we created containers, we did groups, and we did users. All of this is a part of DC01. Now we need to go ahead and bring in another system. Okay, so for example, DC01, now we can say we have an IP address for DC01. So let's go ahead and add it. And this helps us to know what our diagram looks like. So once we're working, if you just have some type of cut sheet to work with, it helps you understand what the environment looks like, and then also how you can manipulate So I'll just bring this down a little bit. So there you go. So this is our IP address. So I know that when I look at my diagram, I kind of know what I'm looking at. Okay. So now we kind of need to bring in another PC. So let's find, I need to find a diagram that represents a PC and bring it in real quick. So I found an icon to represent the PC. So let's copy some stuff over and give it, welcome it to the, this is going to be MGMT. Okay, so this is this PC right here. So that's going to be its name. And then so we're starting off looking like this. We're going to migrate this here shortly though to a bigger platform. So I'm gonna, the more we go into depth, you'll see this grow. But this is how we're starting off. So this is an MGMT PC that we just brought on. It's a 168, and then now we're about to join it to the domain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simulate this icon right here, and it's going to be joined to this domain. So we need to get it. Actually, no, it would make perfect sense coming from here, since it's actually a part of this, part of it. So now we added this computer. Bring this guy a little bit over. Give him some space. Okay, there you go. So now we brought this guy in. Welcome him to the group and to the team. This is going to be our management PC now going forward, and we will use this as a help desk. For the help desk, we'll use this box to manage everything else that's going on in the network for Active Directory. Okay, so this is the logical view we're building out so you guys actually see what it looks like. Okay, so now let's jump back into the actual machine and work it. So now MGMT PC01 is this name, right? So we need to go ahead, the name is good, so we need to now go ahead and join this computer to the domain. So this computer is not staged, so we'll talk about staging later on. So how we do this? Simple, we can do PC name here. You can type in PC name. There's a shortcut here to view your PC name over here. And you can rename the PC if you choose to, but down here at the bottom there's a little right here domain or work group. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see there's a few more things that you can do under here. But what we want to do is go to Advanced System Settings, and this is going to take us back into where we can also change the computer name here. That's the old school way. We're going to go ahead and make this a member of a domain. So global text, I think that is our domain. Let's verify. So we're just looking at global and Active Directory to see that our domain is actually globaltext.com. Just got to verify that it is actually it. So let's go back over now and make sure that we are using the right. So it is globaltext.com. So right here is part of it. So whenever you click OK, you should be prompted now with a box that actually asks you to log in. So this is basically asking you for a permission. So you're not going to use your local um, username here. You want to make sure that the account you're using is a domain admin account. All right. So the administrator, and then we need to make sure the password. Now, if this fails the first time because administrator is also an account here, even though it's disabled, you can make sure that you're using the computer names, the domain / administrator. Okay, so we can try here to see if it takes it. You'll be prompted. Okay, so welcome. Right, so that means the NetBIOS is actually working and Kerberos is actually working with it. So that allows us to log in properly. So now this computer is a part of the domain. Okay, so this is great. And then now we need to restart. So we will go ahead and restart now. Now that the system has restarted, we need to be on the login screen, and we're going to log in now with Billy Bob. So if you remember Billy Bob from the last previous, if not, Billy Bob is a user that is created in Active Directory, and he will be managing our help desk. So Billy Bob has access to do help desk functionalities only. So okay, so Billy Bob is now in. And the first thing we're going to do, let's go to Control Panel. And here, let's expand the category at the top to large icons. And then what we're looking for is programs and features. And then we're going to turn Windows features on. Going to verify. So we need an admin. Since Billy Bob is not an admin of this, we have to use an admin. So administrator account. Because Billy Bob only works at the help desk, but as you can tell, he doesn't have rights to manipulate the system. So anything that requires additional, Billy Bob would have to contact somebody else. Now, these are additional features that are built in with Windows. So as you can see here, there's a few things that we can go in and turn on and turn off. If you wanted to turn them on and so forth, this is where you would go to look for them. So as you can see, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's in here. That's basically how you go in and turn on Windows features or disable or turn something off if needs be. So what we need to do now, we want to install the administrative features on here, but since Billy Bob doesn't have the current permissions, we're going to just go ahead and log him off. Right, so just like sign out to Billy Bob and then let's log in as administrator so we can do all the install that's needed for this machine, and then we'll allow Billy Bob to log back in and use these tools. So let's go ahead and use other, and we're going to go administrator. And as you can see, it tried to changes it to the PC. So you see that administrator, and then the PC. So in this case, you'll do at, and you can log in this way. And try to log into the domain itself if it'll let you. So then you're logging into the PC as an administrator, but not the local admin that it's used to. Because remember, the local admin is disabled, and there's also an administrator account that lives there. So you don't want to confuse the two. Okay, this is going to take a while for it to log in the first time, so let's hold on real quick. So once we're logged in as administrator, now we can just go up here to the top and just type in optional. So we're looking for optional features right there. And we can click this and it will show you optional features that are also here. We want to go to view features. And right here we can just type in RSAT. That's what we're looking for. And let it populate. So that is still loading. So we've been searching around and we're supposed to find this by just going to here and just do optional feature. And you should see right here, right? This is where it normally lives. And then if you go, you'll see few features here. But then if you go to view features, the optional, you should be able to add additional features here. And if you just type in RS, it should have brought in a whole bunch of stuff that's here. But what I realized is that it's probably not loaded, so we might need to install it manually using PowerShell. So what we can do is we can go to our start and we're going to type in terminal. And we're going to run as an administrator real quick. And then we're going to type in this command, get Windows capability, the name RSAT. And it's going to just check to see if these, the status of all the RSAT tools on the system, if they're installed or not. So let's hit enter real quick and see what comes up. It should show us the status of the tools, if they're installed and what's their state and so forth. So as you can see, it returned the results and it's showing that all the RSAT tools that we needed, they are not present on the machine. So that means we need to try to install them. So we can use, we can install them from here. But another thing that we need to do, we need to figure out the command line to find them. So the next command line we're going to run is get Windows capability to name RSAT. And then it's going to show us basically what the names are. So we're looking for this one because we want to do that. Domain services with lightweight tools. So we just need to find the name. So we hit enter real quick and let it populate to show us what's the name we're going to use to install. Alright, so as you can see now, it will show all the names. So these are the names that all of the tools, you see them? For the RSAT tools, those are all the names right there. So if we scroll up and we're looking for like RSAT Active Directory DS tools, those right there, and that's going to install Active Directory domain services and lightweight. So we can potentially now go through and just copy whatever the name we're looking for and try to do the install. So now there will be, as you can see, we're going to add the Windows capability, online the name, and then as I showed you earlier, the RSAT Active Directory DS LS tools up top. So now that's the command we'll run. So everything that's in blue is basically the tool, the name that you want to install. So you can go back up and just copy all of these, but the one that we're focusing on is the Active Directory services. So let's go ahead and hit enter here. and it's going to run and do the install. Alright, so we're back and it's installed. So I did run it again just to see the state, and now you can see that Active Directory Services and LDS is installed, and then it also installs Server Manager right here. So now we can double check. We can go to Start. We can go to All Apps. We can take a look to see what's installed. Okay, so I see Server Manager, so we can get to it from Server Manager. So if we open up Server Manager, right, just as usual, go to Tools. Now everything that's there, you'll be able to see it. So we can manage our domain from this box on a Windows server. So most of you that's working on the help desk, this is probably how it would look for you. You'll be on a Windows box and you tap it into the server with RSAT, right? And then we can also do right here you can do an MMC, so you can just type in MMC, and you can do a run command here too. And then you can go to File and add a new snap-in, and then in here you can add Active Directory users and computers too. So if you just want to add a snap-in and then whatever else is here, then you can click OK. And then from here now you can load, right, Active Directory, and you can see now our entire domain is showing on this box. So what we're going to do now, since we have this loaded, we need to log off, and we are going to now sign out, and we need to log in now with Billy Bob onto this, because this is Billy Bob's machine, right? We have RSAT loaded. Now Billy Bob needs to be able to log in as a help desk user. Okay, so Billy Bob can log on to this management PC. And once he's logged in, now we're going to basically see what Billy Bob has access to. Okay, so remember, we didn't give him any administrative rights. We only gave him rights to the organizational unit. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start, and we'll go back to all apps, and let's see if we can put up Server Manager. So Billy Bob now can access the Server Manager, right? You go to Tools, Users and Computers. Now Billy Bob now does have access to Active Directory. So we're going to drill down now and see. Remember, we delegated rights to him, so he's only supposed to be able to create in only certain locations. So first thing I'm going to check is now if it did it right. Let's see if he has the permission to create an OU here. So let's go to All Tasks, and if you go to All Tasks and you look at it, it doesn't show. The ability to create an OU does not show. Same thing with computer, All Tasks, nothing shows, as you can see. Right here, All Tasks, it can create a new user because that's all he can do new. But if you do over here, you notice that I can't create nothing new. So Billy Bob doesn't have the access to do nothing new. He can create a new user here because that's all we gave him. That's all the rights, right, in these. So like regional B, he can't do nothing either because he only have region A access. You see the new on the region A, but look under region B, nothing. System administrators, nothing. So that means basically because of the delegation that he has, he only has limited rights to what he can do in Active Directory, right? So even if we went to computers, this is a computer, the management PC. Let's say if he has rights to move it into Frankfurt. So let's do a drag and drop right here. Cannot move it because access is denied. So he does not have rights to move this computer. Let's see if we can give him access to move it into New York. Same thing. So with the delegation of the permissions, this is how you check it now to make sure that your or that group only have certain rights to do things in AD. So they can see certain things, but they cannot execute a lot of things. They can view, but they can't execute. And you can build this out more to where you restrict it even from them to even see certain things. I know, right? So this is good, tested. This is where we're going to stop on this lab. I don't want to take this because we have a lot more to cover. So this is where we did delegation and a few other things to get this up and running with Billy Bob. So we're going to pause here, and then we're going to catch up on the next series. So I will see you guys later on in the next series.